Welcome to Everyone Has a Story podcast. Now, as children, we have all experienced various levels and degrees of pain. The question is, as a child, did we learn from it? Some are very easy to learn from, as you're going to hear from my story, and some are not going to be so easy to learn from. And so that question that I'm going to ask everybody that we're going to talk about today is, as adults, what are we doing with that pain that we experience that we just haven't seemed to overcome yet? Or do we even know that we haven't overcome yet? That's what we're going to talk about today with my guests. But before that, I need to tell you about a little bit of pain I experienced when I was a child. And I guess I should rephrase that because it was a short instance, but boy, did it have a lot of pain. And I mean deep, deep, deep levels of pain. So it goes like this. One of my best friends growing up was he was a year older than me, and he was really a very, very good athlete. I mean, he was a good athlete. He ended up being I think the defensive MVP of the Rose Bowl for the University of Washington. He ended up playing professional football as a middle linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks. So he has practiced a lot of time with inflicting pain on the offensive players that he played against. So at one time, a long time ago, I was on the defense and he was playing offense. We had reverse roles, but he still had that ability to inflict pain. So the story goes like this. I'm a sophomore in high school. I grew up playing basketball, baseball, football, but there was a time where all of my buddies, my classmates, they all grew physically, and Roger didn't. When I graduated high school as 18-year-old, I was 5'6" and 107 pounds. So as a sophomore, I was even shorter and had less weight. I think my pads and my whole football uniform weighed more than I did. So you can imagine what I looked like. So Mike's playing the quarterback on the team. We're at practice. They haven't put us on either a sophomore team, a JV team, or a varsity team, but we knew that Mike was going to be on the varsity because he was a varsity quarterback for the last couple of years. So he had his role there. I was trying to get my role as let's call it 100-pound defensive guy. So we were at practice. They were trying to determine who was going to be on what team. And I was playing safety, and I knew that the play was going to come to the guy that I was guarding. So sure enough, I knew what was happening. Things went exactly how I wanted, and I intercept the pass. So here I'm thinking, here's this little guy showing everybody else here how it's done. So of course, I couldn't leave it at that. I had to kind of extend that period of my superpower, right? So I'm high stepping down the sideline. I'm really entertaining myself more than anybody else. And all of a sudden, things went black. I mean, literally, they went black. And as I start to get revived with the smelling salts, I've got all the coaches and a lot of the players looking down at me. And I swear to God, every inch of my body hurt. I mean, there wasn't 1 inch that did not hurt. I felt like I just literally got hit by the Mack truck that was followed by the train. Because I mean, I ached. I'm seeing stars. I'm seeing the birds. They're whistling in my ears. And all of a sudden, the coach looks down at me and goes, "Are you all right?" And I had really no idea because I had no idea really what I was experiencing. And as they started to help me up, it hurt. It hurt badly. But I looked and I was probably a good 10 or 15 feet out of bounds. So this guy, when he hit me, I mean, he hit me with full force because this little body went flying at least 10 or 15 feet. So to make the long story short, I'm at home and I really don't want to tell my parents that I have a bruise that's from my shoulders all the way down to my little toe. But I'm keeping it quiet. We're having dinner. And sure enough, the doorbell rings. My mom gets up to answer it. And I can hear Mike's voice talking to my mom. And about that time, I hear Roger Dale, which I know that when my middle name is called, it's not a good sign. I, I go back to the door. She says, "Would you please lift up your shirt for me?" I lift up my shirt, and I swear to God, the whole right side of my body was just one big bruise. I mean, it was bloody. It was just the ugliest bruise you could ever be. So, as you can only imagine, that from that moment on, I turned in my football gear, and I never stepped foot on a football field with a full padded uniform ever again. So, obviously, a painful story like that is easy to overcome. You just don't put the damn football gear on, and you don't play with guys like Mike Jackson, who's going to knock the better sense out of you. But in real life, and seriously, we all experience pain. Maybe not to the degree that I did, hopefully, but we do experience pain, and it comes in all different versions, shapes, sizes, from different people. Some people you've learned to love, and you can't understand why this pain is happening. But sooner or later, we're going to grow up and we're going to become adults. In some cases, we're going to be parents. How do we transition from the pain that we experienced in some of our childhood memories to where we are today as either a parent? And what we're going to talk about is how that can be really similar to workplace environment. We might not be parents in the workplace, but we are managers. And we've all heard the saying 100 million times from managers and owners, "Geez, I feel like all I do all day is babysit my employees." Well, there's a reason why you're saying that, why you're experiencing that. So today, my guest speaker and I, we are very excited. I mean, over the moon excited to talk about how we can help parents overcome our childhood experiences that we might be falling on and not doing things the way we should be doing it. And we're going to talk about how that transition, that same methodology and mindset transitions over to the workplace. So with that being said, let me welcome and introduce Anne Alvares. How are you?
Hello, Roger. Nice to be here.
I've been waiting, as you know, for this conversation for a long time. This is a good conversation and a very needed conversation. So Anne, she's a parenting coach. She's been in the school system for numbers of years, but she's also the creator and founder of the Masterful parenting program, which is something that everybody needs to get involved with, get to know, because as parents, there might not be that one go-to resource, but I have to tell you that this is a resource that we need to at least put on our shelves that we can go to when we start to experience some of those things as parents that we were kind of dealing with and questioning when we were children. So, Anne, I've introduced you. Tell us a little bit more about you before we get into our podcast.
Oh, thank you, Roger. So I was a teacher for decades, and then I became a school counselor, high school counselor. So I have worked with teenagers for over 15 years and with their families as well. Just with bridging communication gaps between their teenagers and their parents, and helping parents to be able to connect with their children and communicate and build relationship with them. I'm also the mom of two, so I have lived experience being a parent, and I understand the challenges that come along with parenting. So I can empathize with every stage.
So I saw you winch when I told you about how badly I was hit from Mike's blow. As a parent, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, well, I think like a mom. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, if that was my son, I'd be like, what were you thinking, son?
Yeah,
Why did you do
exactly.
that?
Yeah, you had that look of a worrisome mom, and
Yeah,
I'm not your son, but I could tell that it went right to your heart and your gut, right?
for sure, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what you do, because it's a very important to really lay the groundwork here. Why do you coach? Have you chosen to coach parents?
You know, I have a heart for kids, and I grew up with childhood pain. So I came from a very dysfunctional home. There was abuse, there was violence, and I didn't feel safe with my parents. And it affected my adult life. I had very poor self-esteem. My parents were very controlling too. So I had poor self-esteem. I had trouble making decisions on my own because my parents always told me what to do and what to think. And it affected relationships. I gravitated towards unhealthy relationships in my adult life because that was my experience as a child. And then when I had the reason masterful parenting came to me is there was a number of things that happened. Like I had a breakdown in my marriage, and it was really a very challenging time for me. I didn't know what to do, so I just leaned into God and I prayed a lot during that time. And my life had changed. Like I wasn't going to be like married to this man and have this family that I had wanted. um, and so I had to figure out what's my life now? What does it look like now? And I asked God, what's your purpose? Like, what is my purpose for you? How do I serve you? And God said, I want you to be part of the healing of this world. And it resonated with me. It resonated with my soul because I needed healing and I wanted to help people heal. And so um, I love kids. I've been around kids most of my adult life, right? Teaching them and just helping them with counseling. And so I thought, well, you know, people struggle with parenting because of our childhood experiences. And I knew this because I had my friends over for dinner one night, and all of our kids get together and play together and get along really well. And I invited them over for dinner with their kids. After we finished dinner, the kids went upstairs to play, and the adults sat around the table. And we started to have this really impactful conversation about our childhoods. And all of us at the table experienced childhood pain, which really surprised me because when I was a kid, I thought I was the only one that was experiencing pain. Um, and so we shared the different degrees of pain that we experienced, whether it was neglect, abuse, harsh criticism, no validation from our parents, those kinds of things. And that night before bed, I reflected about the conversation and I thought, wow, if my five friends that I'm close to have all experienced childhood pain, how many more parents are there that have experienced childhood pain? How many more parents need help with healing and not repeating the trauma of their childhoods? And so that night it became my mission. Like Masterful Parenting was born, and it has been fueling me ever since. So that's the
So,
story.
so you've been obviously a child. You're now a parent. You've worked in the school system as both a teacher and a therapist. So you've really got the full triangle here. So tell me why you think your words and your past experiences really matter to all adults.
Our words have power in our lives. Our words are what our thoughts are, and our thoughts um, are so powerful to create what we want in our lives. But when we come from childhood pain, our words were words of unworthiness, or I'm bad, or I'm not good enough. And that comes from what our experience was as kids. And as we grow into adult life, sometimes we still carry those words, that identity. And we have to change it if we want to be healthy, right? We have to change the way we think about ourselves, the words that we use, and maybe even reframe the experience so that it is empowering to us. Like I tell parents, we have to reframe how we thought about our childhoods to start that healing process. And that is the pain that we experienced was not about us. It was about our parents. Our parents could not give us what we needed. We are worthy of love. We deserved love. We were lovable. But our parents, maybe they came from brokenness, right? Or they didn't know how to be relational. They didn't know how to give us what we needed. And so that's on our parents. That's not on us. We're still worthy. we're still lovable. And that's what we need to tell ourselves. I was worthy. I am still worthy. As an adult, I'm worthy of being loved. I deserve love. And when we start thinking that way, that is how we change our lives and we change our parenting.
So, and thank you for sharing some of those painful experiences for you. You know, uh, we kind of make fun of my story, but the story that you're just sharing, the stories that you just shared, they go deeper. They have roots that are sometimes really, really embedded in us. And as you found out at that dinner table with your friends that you brought over in that conversation, a lot of individuals here have experienced different types of family trauma, family negative experiences that are still bundled up somewhere in us, embedded in us. And so, how can other people, without having that random conversation over dinner or after dinner about your childhoods, and you start to see that everybody had that consistent message that there was a lot of pain and discomfort there. How can individuals really put an understanding that they might be carrying some extra baggage from some of those painful memories?
We know what our feelings will tell us. So I say to parents, if it doesn't feel good, then that's telling you something. So it is going to show up in your parenting. You maybe you're punishing your child or you're yelling at your child. It doesn't feel good, right? So okay, why? Why am I yelling at my child? Why am I punishing my child? Oh yes, that's was role model to me. That's how my parents parented me. That's what I experienced. And then we need to go to those feelings. Like, how did it feel being raised that way? Like, what did it feel like when your parents were yelling at you? And when you are aware of it, you're like, oh, that didn't feel good. I didn't feel good about myself. Then you're going to say, I don't want my children experiencing that. I have to change the way I am with them so that they don't feel the way I felt. So the first step is just really being aware. And I always say to parents, like, it's not healthy because it doesn't feel good. Healthy relationships feel good. So if you're feeling good, then you're doing something healthy for your children. But if it doesn't feel good, you're punishing, you're hurting them, you're yelling at them, then that's not healthy.
No, and that's an easy gauge that we can all measure, because you know what? No matter what, at home, at work, in public, we have that moment where, you know what? You almost feel embarrassed because it just didn't feel good, right? Something happened and we reacted. And, you know, there's a lot of emotions that go with it, but really the easy one to measure is it just didn't feel good. We know darn well it just did not feel good. So
Yeah.
let's move over to the business community. I mentioned in the introduction about how I hear countless times managers and owners say, geez, I feel like all I do all day is babysit my employees. So how does it really apply what you just talked about with helping parents be better parents and better individuals? How do you think it applies to the business community?
Well, parents are leaders and managers are leaders, bosses are leaders, employers are leaders. And so we have to step into that leadership role. And so stepping into that leadership role means we're going to do things that are going to be impactful to our employees and our children, right? And the way that you make impact in people's lives is by having relationship with them. This is what I teach, relational parenting. When you have a relationship with your employees want to do things for you. Your employees want to work hard for the company. Your employees want to please you because they know you care about them. And you build relationship by connecting. So you say, so how was your day? How was your weekend? How are your children? How's your mom doing? Like you take an interest in their lives outside of the workforce, right? Outside of out of the job. But also you can connect by understanding what they have to offer. What are their skills? What are they good at? Because that is what you can use to build the business, right? And you compliment them on that. You say you're really good at the bookkeeping or you're really good at expressing ideas. I need you on this project, right? This is giving value to your employee. It makes them feel good when you recognize their abilities. You give them credit for it and you give them opportunities to shine.
Why? That sounds so damn easy, almost too easy. So why in our workplace environment today is it so hard for an individual, an adult individual, to give praise, to give thanks, to give gratitude, to give a compliment on something as basic, like you just said, boy, I can't thank you enough for being my bookkeeper. You just keep everything. So I mean, it takes 2 seconds, but those few words, those 2 seconds of gratitude and thankfulness, they last a long time.
Yes.
So why is it so hard for a damn adult today to be a manager? Obviously it does not say parent or father or mother, but why is it so damn hard for those people to look someone in the eye, give them that authentic thank you, give them a high five, a handshake, a hug, whatever? Why is it so hard today to do that?
I really believe it's society. Like we've always lived in a hierarchical society where the boss is the boss and we are supposed to obey. And it's the same with parenting. The parent is the boss and we're supposed to obey. And we were not taught about relationships, about fostering relationships, how actually that's healthier than just being the boss and ordering people around. It's healthier to build connection and to have relationship with people. And that is what we have to retrain ourselves in to understand. When we put the relationship first, then everybody wins.
Well, let's go find an island that we can all move to where all we do is be thankful for everybody that we come in contact with, as opposed to staying in this current society norm that just makes it almost a sign of weakness that we can actually show our emotions and say thank you to someone. It just is appalling to me. So let's talk about the real results, because as a parenting coach, you've seen either through your own examples that you deal with your own children and what you've helped other parents and other teachers do at the school and with their children. What are the real results that a manager or an owner can really experience with being relational, as you said, building those relationships, building those connectiveness? Really tell us the good stuff. I know there's always going to be some, naysayers out there, but you know what? We're in a desperate situation here. People need to be happy when they wake up and know that they're going to go clock in for their job, and they want to, have those 8 hours that, they're being productive and they're being, you know, a good employee. But, let's talk about the real results of being connected, having those relationships where we really feel like that workplace is only just an extension of our home life, a good home life.
I think as a boss, as an employer, a manager, I think you need to be thinking every day about everyone that works for me has value, and I'm going to recognize their value. So today I'm going to go into work and I am going to um, focus on the value of each of my employees, what they're good at, um, what they're doing well. And I'm also going to connect with them on a personal level. Uh, honestly, it's so true. When you have a coach that connects with you on a personal level, that's when you excel and you grow. It's the same thing with teaching. When you have a teacher that cares about you and wants to see you successful, you are going to work hard in that course. It's all about connection. Everything is about connecting, relationships. That is going to bring value. That's going to bring cohesion to your team, a common vision, and everyone working together because it feels good. It feels good to go to work, to have people that care about you.
You know, uh, I'm not a coach. I'll never pretend to be a coach. I'm a business guy, but I do know that I love making connections. And the one thing that I really honestly say is the key to start that engine of that connection, that relationship is a warm and welcome, authentic smile. And for all of you out there listening, you need to go to YouTube and watch this episode with Ann and I, because if there's anybody that has just a warm, welcoming, authentic smile, it's Ann. And I know that you don't teach smiling, but tell us, besides just at least introducing a smile to the workplace, and from a leader's point of view, those smiles go a long ways and they pay big dividends, and it doesn't cost me a damn thing out of my pocketbook to smile, right? And
True.
and the fact of the matter is that smiles can probably bring and increase the productivity in a workplace probably faster than anything else. But other than just the idea of a simple smile, how can what are your solutions to get leaders and employees, because it goes back and forth, the communication relationship goes back and forth, it's not just a one-way street here. How can you introduce the reason to smile? What are your solutions to really introduce the reasons to be happy and smile during your day when you know someone's having a rough day, or even if you're having a rough day? I know when I'm having a rough day, if I start to smile to strangers or to coworkers, it makes me feel better. It's probably better than Advil and Tylenol combined. So, what are your solutions to help these individuals?
I would say the first to start, okay, I have a routine. Every morning I get up. I pray, right? I'm a God person. And I just thank God. I list a whole bunch of things I'm thankful for. Like I thank you for our home, my kids, their health. Thank you for my job. I always say I'm thankful for my jobs. Thank you for this mission you've put in my heart. Like I go through the whole list. And by the time I'm done the list, I'm actually smiling. I'm happy, right? I think when you start your day off with gratitude, just naming things that you are so grateful for in your life, you're going to go to work with a smile on your face. You're going to be like, I feel good because I just named the 10 things I'm so grateful for. And we all have things to be grateful for. We have to focus on that. When we focus on gratitude, actually, the neuroscience behind gratitude, how it actually rewires the brain for happiness. And so that's what we need to do. We have to rewire our brains for happiness. And we do that. We start off with gratitude. And you can even say, I am so grateful for my employees, and name them, name who they are and what they're doing for you. And then when you go to work, you're going to be smiling at them because you just gave thanks for them being working with you, right? So that's the first step is just every day you need to express gratitude and do that before you head into the office. And then that is going to put a smile on your face. It's going to be easy to smile.
Well, let's represent and role play on how that really plays out. I can't tell you how grateful I am for you to share your smile and your wisdom to my audience. Okay, that took 2 seconds, and it felt so damn good to see your reaction. It felt good internally for me to say it, and it felt even better to see your reaction. And it's like, we're getting close to Thanksgiving, we're getting close to Christmas, and Christmas is all, there's so many displays with beautiful lights and fixtures. Why not, instead of just focusing on the Christmas lights and bulbs and all the different colors, let's light up every experience, every moment with smiles. Wouldn't that be just a wonderful holiday season if all we saw was just teeth smiling from ear to ear, huh?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So I think we should start that Nothing But Smiles campaign for the holiday season. And I can't thank you enough. I truly am, on a very serious note, so grateful that you and I are connected, that we had this experience together. And I know we have a lot more down the road that we're planning on. I can't thank you enough for that. But before we go, please give us one more Anne Alvares bit of inspiration.
A bit of inspiration. Oh my gosh, the pressure. All of us have value, and we need to see the value in ourselves. And we also need to see the value in others. That's really going to make the difference when you start appreciating who you are as a person and the people that are around you, appreciating them. That's going to go a long way in your life when you show appreciation for yourself and for others.
Okay. And so this holiday season, when we're sitting around giving thanks, I want everybody to give Roger Sargent thanks for introducing them to Anne Alvares right before the holiday season, to just be thankful and to just show the true power of a smile and just being grateful. So, Anne, thank you enough. How can these individuals, if they want to learn more and reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, so I have a podcast, Masterful Parenting. I'm also on LinkedIn, Anne Alvares. I have a YouTube channel, Masterful Parenting. I have a show now on Win-Win Women. It's called the Masterful Parenting Show. I'm going to be airing episode 3 on Saturday, so I'm super excited. And you can find me on Facebook, Masterful Parenting. You can message me, email. My email's on LinkedIn. I'm really, really easy to find. So reach out, parents. I love working with parents.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
My podcast wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for my sponsors and my great supporters. So let me take this opportunity to thank each and every one of them. First of all, I want to thank Rebecca at Custom Bookkeeping and Accounting, delivering trustworthy bookkeeping services since 2003. Dave and Dara at Virtues Matter, making this world a much happier place to be with their Virtues Card apps, coaching and workshops. Stephen at Buller Accounting, giving business owners depth and insight to their numbers. Eric and his team at Ivy Cat Web Design, the real superheroes of web development and design. Jennifer and Jean at the Seavers Real Estate Team, serving Pierce and Kitsap counties with their home buying and selling needs. Maury at the Maury Method, the world's only brainwave entrainment engineer, helping everyone have more clarity, less stress, and overall better brain health. Priya at Pivot My Profit, helping individuals and businesses have better control of their finances and more money at the end of their day. Melissa at the Soul Vibe Energy High, the queen of the aha moments, helping individuals find those holes in their cups, repair the hole, and gain back their positive energy. And finally, Rick at West Sound Recording. You talk, they do all the rest. Thank you, Rick, for all your efforts with the production and editing of my podcast.